Hey guys, well, welcome to our first ever episode of just having a one-on-one with a master trainer and a cycle leader. So today we have Rawlins from Vegas. Rawlins, how are you today? Wait, did I say your last name right?
No, it's okay.
I do this all the time.
Apolado.
Apolado. Rawlins Apolado from Vegas.
You caught it though.
I get so much crap for that from so many other performers.
It's okay. You know what? I saw it recording. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna roll with it.
And actually, the really interesting thing is you're kind of a one-name brand anyway. Everyone knows who Rawlins is.
Yeah. They don't know my last name.
Why is that? Why do we all know who you are?
Well, I think that it has to do with the fact that my name is different from most people. And growing up with this name, I've had it butchered left and right, so I just roll with it. And I wanted to, I guess this is a true story. So back in the day in high school, we used to have to write this quote from Emerson or Henry Thoreau. Nothing is as last sacred as the integrity of one's name. And so whenever you signed your name on a quiz, it's saying that there's integrity behind this. Well, I brought that to the next level of like anything that you do in life, you leave your carbon footprint on, and that represents who you are in your name. And I've really worked. It was a cognizant thing for me to say, all right, well, who am I? If I'm the only person that has this name, what does it establish? What does it represent? Who does it represent? So I think that that's how I've come out of my shell. Believe it or not, I was a very timid, quiet kid. I'm a mama's boy.
Like a lot of performers, there are a lot of performers that are very introverted, but there's something about that stage that
you're like, hey, yeah. I think ultimately is like when people think of JR, they know these things. Well, when people think of Rawlins, they know these things, and I really worked hard with really trying to establish what that name represented. And for me, it's integrity. It's going to be enthusiasm, energy. That's what I'm known for, very much so, is energy, because I feel like I'm going to live every moment of my life with fulfillment and being authentic to me. For a long time, JR, I did what made you happy and what I thought you liked. And it came to a point in my life saying, I will only find happiness if I find it within myself. In fact, in AMP last night, building to the dedication, what I mentioned is like, you can be in any relationship, whether it's work or whether it's a partner or whomever it'll be, but you'll never be happy until you're happy with yourself. And I think that that's where the true sense of artistry comes in, is not trying to emulate somebody else, but being your authentic truth.
You know, that's really interesting. I recently had a conversation with Donna Thomas, and I know you know who Donna is.
I love Donna Thomas.
And her number one point of feedback to all performers, no matter where we're at in the game of being a performer, is to work on yourself.
Yep.
And I wasn't expecting that, that to be her number one point of feedback, but it really ties in with what you're saying there. And of course, making yourself happy, but that's such a tough thing to do. You know, I mean, to say like you have to work on yourself, but in the business of giving, filling other people's cups every single day, we must fill our own cup. I totally agree.
You know, I have a saying that I got this from group fitness, that I make everybody happy. I just don't do it at the same time. You know, there's going to be a song I choose that you may not like, or a move, but at the end of the day, if we're all in it for the bigger purpose, we start to dismiss those little things that I think we focus on, and we start to focus on the big picture of the things that matter. You know, and that's what I challenge people with, is like, what are the things that matter to you? And whether it's a cycle class or whether it's a studio class or a warrior sculpt, at the end of the day, I love this from Darren Hardy, The Compound Effect. He writes a book called The Compound Effect, and it is so much buttoned up like this. The person you are in this very moment is from a series of decisions you've either made or not made in your life. So I challenge you, saying, what are the decisions you're going to make moving forward at the end of the day? If you're responsible for your happiness, then make the decisions that make you happy. And I think that ultimately we fear this thing of not being right, not being good enough. And at the end of the day, we're the persons that are rating that at the end of the day. So it's a matter of being gracious with yourself and know that part of mistakes is part of the learning process. And I share fail. This is the acronym for fail, everybody. We're going to switch our brains. Fail stands for the first attempt in learning. So be it. So I fail all the time, and that's how I learn, and that's how I've grown.
The first attempt in learning.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey, so let's dive into the one-on-one. So today we have our one-on-one scheduled, which is just a conversation about really important topics and just things that I've learned about you as a leader within our fitness community that I would love to share with the rest of the performers.
Okay.
So I recently chatted with some of our incredible performers from the Illinois region. I know that you were recently at the Northbrook grand opening, which was a number 140, right?
I believe 141. Is it 140, 141? I think it's 140. Yeah.
So bottom line, we are growing.
Yeah.
Within the walls of Lifetime. And you've seen this company grow longer than I have in terms of just, kind of the global scale. So you've really seen a lot and you've met so many performers.
Uh-huh.
So when you were down there, you led a master amp cycle class, and then you also led a master trainer amp cycle workshop. And during that workshop, you focused on a topic that I think is so untapped with the depth of the conversations that we have with performers. And that's why I wanted to chat with you today.
Awesome.
So it's about the why behind our movements. When you were talking to a few of the performers at the Illinois grand opening, or at the Northbrook grand opening, they were so blown away about your perspective and depth behind your reasoning, but behind using what move when in an amp cycle class. But how does this translate to fitness in general? Not even speaking to this specific brand, you were talking about all of the purpose behind every movement, the timing, the when. Talk to us about that today.
Oh my goodness. We only have a few minutes, so I'll do some high level things here. It first comes down to what we do as instructors is we cue, right? It's verbal and nonverbal. To me, that's a language. Whether you're speaking to them nonverbally, or whether you're cueing, as we cue a squat, or how we're in the saddle, at the end of the day, we're communicating something. Well, music also communicates too. And I feel that there's sometimes a disconnect with us as performers, because we'll pick a song and then we'll plug and play, opposed to let the music play and plug into ourselves. I know that sounds very cheesy, but that's really what it comes down to. There's a process that I do for all of my classes, and it's different from warrior sculpt to an amp to an edge. But ultimately, when I'm picking music, I'm asking myself, how does it make me feel? At the end of the day, a song is going to make each person feel a certain way. But if we're choosing our playlist, what we're doing is we're sharing something more than just what I like. We're sharing some magic behind it. It's like how it makes me feel. So we process, the old standard way that we process visually, auditorily, and kinesthetically how we feel. When I'm thinking about songs, I'm allowing myself to feel the music. How does it make me feel and move? At the end of the day, you can put any move in a box, whether it's a squat, a high, low, low, a curl, you can do it to the beat. But how you move is where the magic comes from. For example, if you're listening to a song, it might make you want to tap your foot. Some people may want to, bob their head or, roll their fingers on a desk. How is that music making you feel? Then the magic comes into the choreography of like, all right, does that movement warrant this? Again, with an 8 count, you can step touch anything to it. You can step touch, but how you step touch? Are you grooving in your step touch? When I listen to music, I'm not just listening to the beat, I'm listening to the layers of how it moves my feet. Let
me ask you this.
Yes.
Okay. So you're talking about the why behind the movements, and please hold your thought. I just want to add this next thought into your reasoning. Where is the disconnect with some performers that makes you even want to speak to the why anyway? So have you noticed firsthand where maybe they're winging it, maybe they're not actually putting emotion and heart into those movements? Where's the disconnect?
I think the disconnect is where I can appreciate our performers keeping the integrity to the brand. We get too cerebral. For example, let's use an amp, because we're ampers, right? 1, 2, 1. We know that's the formula. We know the formulas for whatever format that we have. And I feel like sometimes we get so cerebral and we lock it in that we forget that the magic comes into not being in a box, looking outside that box. And I feel like as we pick a song, we put a move to it. And I've seen a high, high, low, low work for everything, but it doesn't, there's something that it misses. So I feel we overcomplicate it. I think that there's simplicity, there's success in simplicity. And that's what's brilliant about, again, not just because you're on the call, 1-2-1. It's 1-2-1. It's not 1-3.5-1.
What do you mean?
What I mean by that is it's one song, 2 moves, 1 light. It's
okay,
not,
so for those of you that are watching today, with Amp Cycle, whether you're certified in AMP or not, there are 3 parts to a song, which we call an act. So you're referring to the 2 moves, 1 new light, 1 new song.
Right.
Okay.
And then I sometimes see that, all right, well, they want to go through every part of the song, and so they'll do 3 moves. But that's not what you have to do. There's simplicity in that, and there's success in that. I think at the end of the day, what ends up happening is there's 2 parts. Let me answer your question like this. 2 parts. One is we're overthinking it, number 1. And number 2, we tend to want to make it better because we think the members are bored. Now, our members listen to song, if they come in once a week, if that, maybe twice. We've listened to it 1,000 times. As we listen to our song playlist, and then we listen to the song to figure out how are we going to choreograph this. And then we practice our cueing, and then we listen to the car. So by the time that we deliver it, we've probably heard it a good dozen times, right? So then we think they're bored because what really is, we're bored. And the question is, why are we bored? What is it that we're bored of? And I think that's the other part of the disconnect, JR, is if you are connected and engaged to your community, you won't be bored. Because it's not about the choreography at the end of the day, it's about the community at the end of the day. Because if they don't come back to your class, you have no class, right? So it's about community. So again, just to highlight, one is we get in our brain about the format and we plug and play, opposed to breathe the moves into it. And then we tend to want to put more on top of it when we don't have to.
So what were some of the big aha moments for the performers that you were talking to about this exact topic when you were in Illinois? When you were talking about the why behind the movements, the purpose, the simplicity behind your delivery of the workout within each song?
Being authentic to yourself. We spent a good time, even though that we had all the talking points, we spoke breath into your why. And I feel that sometimes as instructors, we forget that. We forget why we became instructors. We forget like what it does for us. And then we end up getting into we lose sight of that. And I think that it's important every now and again to come back to your why, because it'll be a disservice, not just to you, but to your members. If you are going through the motions, if you're running late for your class, or you didn't prepare your playlist and now you're going on the fly. I feel like you're doing disservice. So it's about being your authentic self and asking your question, why are you an instructor? What made you be? And what's going to make you better? Like, how are you, it's why, what, and how. Why are you an instructor? What have you done with it? And how are you going to become better? I think that we constantly evolve. If we're not evolving, then I love the saying, there's no such thing as staying the same, either striving to become better or allowing yourself to become worse. So are you constantly checking in with yourself saying, I love what I do? Because JR, I love what I do. I get very emotional when it comes to fitness. And I know that sounds very corny, but I do, because for me, fitness is not just a way of life, but it gives people purpose. It gives people hope when they're looking in the mirror and they're seeing all the bad things that are wrong with them, opposed to the greatness that they have, the fact that they accomplished a class, the fact that they showed up. We have to remember that we have a responsibility as instructors, as performers, to not make it about us. It's about the people that are in the class. And I think that when you ask that why, so we spend a lot of time going around the way saying, why are you an instructor? Why are you an instructor? And then it evolved to the next part of, all right, showcase how you are an instructor. And you saw a lot of going through the motions. And there were some aha moments because we would stop. And then another thing that's hard for people to do is provide feedback. I love to create a safe place for feedback. Feedback only makes you better. right? So if you're open to the feedback. And so it was a moment of how do we share feedback with one another to grow, opposed to, well, I don't like it when you did this, this, and this, and this. I'm very much a yogi in the aspect of positive affirmation first, constructive development on the second half, but positive first.
Here's a question.
I can keep on going, but that's
nailed it. So what about the performers that think they're authentic, that they believe that they're tapping into their true authentic self every single class? What about the performers that have busy classes? What about the performers when they're watching this today, when they're thinking, I do all of that? How do us performers know if we are actually tapping into the why and at real effective purpose in all of our classes, even if we think we're great?
It's going to be, you can measure this in a couple different ways. Class size. Now, you can't always measure on class size, but majority of the time you're going to class size, because people are going to find a way. They're going to leverage their resources to make sure they show up for your class. I heard the other day that somebody changed their work schedule to make sure they got to a class. So you can measure in that commitment that you've created something for them, an experience that they don't want to miss out. I've got a Facebook message from one of my clients or members that started taking Kettlebell Combine, and she told me a dream that she had, that she missed class. And I thought that was the most heartfelt thing. She's like, oh my goodness, I was so freaked out. I thought I missed class. I'm like, it's okay, we're here. So we can measure it in that way. We can measure it also in feedback. What are people saying in the class? How are they feeling in the class? Is that endorphin rush there for them through the thick and thin of it? How are your NPS? What is the feedback they have in Medallia? You know, when we get feedback from member services or people that are on the kiosk, what are those things saying to you? And then ultimately, are they having a good time? That's what it's about. Are you having a good time? Because what we do sometimes isn't so fun when we have to hold a chair pose for about 10 breaths, right? Or we got to do another set of burpees, or we're pushing ourselves an edge to that limit. But what keeps them coming back? It's a sense of accomplishment. And we have to, as instructors, we don't have to do anything. As instructors, I challenge each and every one of you to say, are you providing that opportunity? There's a difference between encouraging and empowering. Are you the good job, great, that's amazing? Or are you being thoughtful and saying, what is it going to take for you to push 10 seconds to your heavy push? Or what is it going to take for you to do another burpee? When you create a forum for people to show them authentic selves, they'll take it when you're authentic.
So we all have our own show. I have my show that I put on. Every performer has their own show. Yeah. There's the Rawlins show. When you show up to any of your classes, in terms of the way, your style, your delivery, the way that you interact, communicate. Does our show ever get old? Will the Rawlins show today get old? And how do you keep it fresh?
Dude, you are really getting me with these questions, man. All right. Dude, well, Rawlins gets old, you know, and I'm going to speak truth to that. You know, I'm constantly reinventing myself. And I declared the other day that I want to be able to do burpees when I'm 80, right? I feel like as I've gotten into these years that I'm in, and we're not going to talk about my age, but, or I'll own it, in my mid-40s, the fact that I can still fly in the air doing jump strikes, or that I can do the things that I can do, that for me is a celebration. And now I'm showing, you know, a lot of our members, look, I'm just like you right here. And what we're doing together is we're providing change. We're providing change into our own, not just body, but our minds. Reinventing myself. Yeah, you know, what I did in my 20s, I looked at a video I did 10 years ago teaching at another gym. And I go, ooh, I'm like, my wardrobe choice, my physique and image, I thought it was great. And I look back going, why'd I wear that? Why'd I wear a wife beater into that class? Teaching a class is one thing, and taking, like, ooh. And so I had those moments where I'm like, so I reflect back. And, you know, whether it's social media, you look at your timelines and you see your evolution of growth in yourself. I think that you owe it to yourself to say, hey, if it gets boring, going full circle, if it gets boring, then it's time for you to move on.
So what does that mean? Move on.
That means your passion. That means life is short, JR. Life is short. If you think you fulfilled every moment, every rock, every nook and cranny of being a fitness professional and performer, then it's time for you to move on and find what's going to make you grow. And whatever that spark is in with your heart, to be authentic. Now, I'm not saying leave. However, your responsibility, first and foremost, is being authentic to yourself. And when you lose sight of that, that will show. It will show on stage. It will show in your cueing. It will show in your interactions. And at the end of the day, you owe it to yourself to be happy, because that's what we're doing. We're creating an opportunity for people to be happy with themselves, and we got to practice what we preach.
So we have a long list of brands, signature lifetime brands.
Yep.
That we all know about. We have these brands, but yet we need to deliver them in our own authentic way. So when we learn that on-brand recipe, can we deliver each format authentically, where it is a representation of us and not only Lifetime?
100%. Yesterday I taught Warrior Sculpt right into Spartan Strong, right into Amp. I didn't know whether I was going to namaste in Spartan and Aru in Warrior Sculpt, because there is a brand identity to it, and being able to be authentic to that. So yes, I'm not the same person in all those different formats. I'm breathing life. The formats that I teach, it's because I'm connected to it, right? And I used to be a certification. Well, there's a name for it, but we'll just say, like, I love certifications, but it came to a point like, why am I getting certified if I'm not teaching the format? Well, I'm not teaching the format because I didn't connect to it, but there's nothing wrong with personal development and growing. But I feel like sometimes at Lifetime, we see a new shiny thing and we want to get certified, and then we want to teach it, but we don't connect to it. So that's why I think that at the end of the day, the recurring theme today, JR, is authenticity. You got to be real with yourself, and it's a hard thing to do. But the moment that you can do that, life becomes different. There's a freedom. There's a liberation. People ask me, why are you happy? Because I said, why would I not be? Where do you get your energy from? I'm alive. It's nothing. It's nothing like I got from the Himalayas or Tibet. It's just the fact of, I've learned in my life, the only person that can make me happy is me. And so I bring joy to whatever it is I do, and I have a passion for fitness. I have a passion for my members. I have a passion for our formats. And it's our responsibility to breathe life into the format, to speak to it. I'm not going to be a kettle combine guy when I'm teaching, let's say, dance jam. Not going to be that, right? You're going to create that feeling. That's what attracts the members. Two things will attract the members. You can have a format, but the format is just a format until the instructor breathes life into it, and they're going to connect with you. Again, when you allow it to be, when you open up your heart. And it's a hard thing for people to do.
So going back to my original question today, speaking to the why behind what we do when in our classes, the way that we move, the why behind of why we're moving, the purpose and intention behind what we're doing in every single song, no matter what the format is. Can you give us a couple points of advice on maybe some homework to take away from this conversation?
Yeah, I love it. When you're hearing music, be authentic to how it makes you feel. It may make people feel another way, but that's not what you're trying to portray. You're trying to portray you. So again, if you're listening to music, it makes you bob your shoulders, then maybe that's what we're saying is we're translating into a pulse movement or a choreographed movement where it enables that vibe, that bounce. Maybe you listen to a song that really opens up and expands and opens your heart chakra, and it lets you breathe. Allow that song to shine there. I feel like we have to be cerebral to a point to give a structure, identity of the format, but it cannot come to life until we choose how to breathe life into it. And that's where you get the music. So the music, how does it make you move? How does it make you feel? And then also as a choreographer, how does it look? One of the best things you can do is film yourself. So when you're listening to your songs, how does it make you feel? I write on the left side of my songs, I go sassy vibe, sexy chill. I go club up. So I give it like a certain description about how the vibe is. And then I'll pick my movements. That's going to be for my dance and for my mat formats. For my strength conditioning formats, I'm listening to the song. I'm not going to play a top 40, shake it off to Kittable Combine. Combine's the word. So, and we're not going to shake it off. We're going to get down and gritty. In strike, I'm not going to play metal. I'm going to be authentic to the nature of what MMA is, right? So I think that first and foremost, you got to be true to the nature of what is this class bringing? What is it manifesting? So be authentic to the way the music makes you feel. Film yourself. How do you move? And then whether you're on a bike or whether you have a barbell, listening to the music and then seeing your movement quality will show you, did it fit or are you forcing the fit? And then I think last is ask for feedback. Ask for feedback straight up, and ask for feedback from people that are going to give you real feedback. Not like, oh, you're great. Oh, you're great. Like, give real feedback, because that's one of the hardest things to do, is to hear some constructive feedback.
How often should we ask for feedback?
As much as you feel you need at the end of the day. You know, I do it in a couple different ways. I actually pull my format guides out, even as a master trainer, every 3 months to make sure that I haven't deviated from what the program is. One of the first things I do is, if I know that you're an instructor, right after class, I go, give me feedback. Give me feedback. Whether you're corporate, whether you're a colleague, whether whoever you are, the first thing that I do is I ask for, can I have some feedback? And that's what's made me better. In the beginning, I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to be like, oh, I was great with feedback. No, I wasn't. I'd be like, I was defensive.
Has it ever been awkward for you getting feedback from someone?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How do you overcome that?
I got over my ego. It's hard to do. It's hard to do. But the moment it goes back to authenticity. Is my ego authentic? No, it's my defense mechanism. If my ego is fueling pride and passion, that's a positive thing. If it's building a wall, then it's not a good thing. So how do you channel your ego? Again, you got to be real with yourself.
Cool. Anything else for us today?
Oh, I can go on for days. No, I just want to say thank you for having me this opportunity. I love the platform where I can share a lot of my own personal experiences. You know, I said a long time ago, I was going to pay it forward to all my mentors by mentoring as many people as I can and showing them that life is made to live, love, and laugh. And the moment you stop doing that, you got to ask yourself the hard question, am I living my authentic self? That's all I got for you.
Rawlins Apalato, thank you very much.
Thank you, JR.
I learned a lot from you today. This is great.
Appreciate it.
For any of you watching, be sure to hit up Rawlins either through the grid, through Instagram, email, but you can start right here on the grid. Just hit him up, and I know that Rawlins is going to be all about helping you out, mentoring you, and answering.
1,000%.
And of course, you can reach out to me as well. So this is our first ever one-on-one. Thank you so much, Rawlins, for just taking time today. Have an awesome holiday. I see the Christmas tree directly behind you. So for those of you that celebrate
Happy holidays.
For those of you that celebrate Christmas or any sort of
Happy Kwanzaa, happy Hanukkah.
During the holiday season, happy holidays in Rawlins. Thank you so much.
Thank you, JR. Bye, everyone.
All right, see you guys.
Bye, JR!
Oh my God, I love my job. See you guys.